Welcome to
Perfect.
Charlotte, Ethan Hawke. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. I love Charlotte, North Carolina.
I was going to ask. We always love asking our guests, what their Charlotte story is, and a lot of the guests will say, "Oh, I love the airport, and I've been there for 40 minutes and connected somewhere else."
No, I've made a couple movies there in my life. Um, but I made the original Black Phone there. Had an amazing time. I lived on the beach and had this amazing house, and it was the pandemic and everybody was miserable, but we had this killer house on the beach, and I had the best time.
That's so cool. That's so cool. The Lowdown, the FX's Lowdown, executive produced by the man right here, Ethan Hawke. The finales tonight. I have to ask. I feel like episodes of shows are running shorter than they used to. Like weren't networks buying 13 episodes? But now lately, like great shows like yours and other shows that I love so much are running, 8 episodes or sometimes splitting, and then like an additional three will come out in a couple weeks. What's the thinking behind that, Ethan?
Well, it has to do with streaming. It used to be that now that there's such flexibility in how long things are, and it used to be when I was growing up, there was a lock. It had to be exactly 1 hour, 45 minutes of entertainment for 15 minutes of commercials, and you needed to have X many episodes of the network wouldn't air it. And it has to do with the people who are making these shows trying to protect quality of it. We when we're making it, if it's 12 episodes, there's going to end up being a lot of water in your beer. The idea is if you can create the right amount of episodes so that the story doesn't have any water in the beer. That's the basic idea. And with this show, we thought we had a really great story that was 8 episodes long. And if it was too much longer, we were going to be spinning our wheels for you.
Ethan, when you take on a project like this and you are an executive producer and you're, the actor in the project as well, how hard is it to kind of, I guess, back up and give yourself the constructive criticism and, work both sides of the industry?
Well, it's not hard at all in this case because Sterling Harjo is the creator of the show. He made Reservation Dogs, and he's really the reason I did this show. He's really brilliant, and I really wanted to be an executive producer on the show for largely two reasons. One is to help protect him, because the more money that's coming in from studios and the more pressure you have, the harder it is to maintain the integrity of the artistic goals of the show. And secondly, I'd never been in a TV show, and so I never accepted a part where I hadn't read all the scripts. I didn't, and I wanted to be a part of the kitchen to make sure that I liked the scripts. I didn't really want to be a gun for hire, and I wanted to be Sterling's partner. I love that guy.
That's interesting. I never thought of that, LauRen and Big Al, like what Ethan just said, which is like when you get a movie, you get the full script, but when you're
Right.
doing a TV show, you're not getting the full script.
And that's why so many actors sometimes end up unhappy on TV shows, because you thought the character was going more this way, and then you start getting writing that you like less, and it's harder for your imagination to get around it all. And this way, I get to be right sitting shotgun next to Sterling, and we get to create Lee, and we get to create the show together, and it feels more like you're part of a band, and he's definitely in charge. He does a great job. He's a brilliant man, and his whole worldview. He's bringing all his friends from Tulsa. He and I have even known each other. We've actually known each other for a long time. So this whole thing happened really organically.
Tulsa's the hotbed now for shows. Sly did his show there. You're doing your show.
Hey, but Sly didn't shoot his in Tulsa.
You did. You did.
Oh yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
made ours all in Tulsa, all with Tulsa locals. Tim Blake Nelson's from Tulsa, Tracy Letts is from Tulsa, Gene Triplehorn's from Tulsa. This is a Tulsa show through and through.
It's
So I have
great.
a question. You've done everything from like big studio stuff to small indie projects and everything in between. So what's like one thing that you will not compromise when you pick up a project?
God, really, it's the writing. Actors are only as good as their opportunity. if the writing isn't there for you, you cannot excel. If the thing is just built poorly, it's never going to work. It doesn't matter what the budget is. It doesn't matter who your co-star is. It doesn't matter how fabulous the director is. If the DNA of the plan is not a good plan, it's not going to fly. And if you have a great script, you can make it on your phone. If you have a great script, it can withstand notes from the studio or dumbing. It's like, it's all in what the map is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a genre that you lean more towards, like that you're comfortable in? If it's, horror, drama, comedy, like what is your ultimate project? What do you lean towards?
I think what I figured out when I was younger that I'm happy about was that I wasn't such a fabulous actor that I could just be one of those shamanistic people who can shape change themselves. The ways that I thought I could excel is that I really do love movies. I love a horror movie. I love a comedy. I love an art film. I love a cop picture. I love a noir. And I thought the ways that I could push myself as an actor was to be in a variety of different kinds of movies. And now over the course of my life, I've been allowed to do that. I've been in Westerns, I've been in sci-fi movies, and it's a way to keep myself interested. I don't feel like I'm repeating myself. And I stay curious. And when you're curious and having fun, I think it shows in the work. And that's what I've tried to do. So I really just don't have a favorite. I know when we do it well, and I know when we do it poorly, but that's about it.
Ethan, you've been nominated for so many different awards, including the Academy. And I'm wondering, does that mean anything to you? I know like a lot of actors in interviews that I hear, or, I watch these interviews, and I'm wondering like if the awards really make you feel any different about yourself moving to the next role. I'm sure your agent loves it, but
yeah, it's a funny thing. We all feel this way about society and culture. Society respects it. So you'd be an idiot not to want it. It's like, if, we see it in athletics, World Series MVP, and then that person carries that badge with them and they get introduced with it every time. And what it takes to play the game well. And anybody with a brain in their head knows that you don't win an Oscar alone. You win an Oscar because you had a great costume designer. You win an Oscar because you have a great script. You win an Oscar because the DP is brilliant. The same way you don't win a Super Bowl just because you're great. It's a team sport, or those are team sports, and making movies is a team game. It's such a collaborative medium. And so those things are a bit of a lie, but you also know they're status symbols, and they help grease the rails for your future projects. And everybody wants pins on their chest, right?
Yeah.
But you also got to be smart and keep it in the right place in your brain, because there's there's legions of brilliant musicians that don't have a Grammy, right? And there's lots of musicians that have 4 Grammys that aren't so hot.
it doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define who you are.
It can't define who you are.
Yeah.
It does define how society sees you, and that's real.
Yeah. Well, not that it means anything to you, but we were voted Charlotte's best morning radio program, 4 years running.
You had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
I have to tell you guys what an honor it is to be on Charlotte's best radio program. I am privileged to be with these award-winning journalists.
You'll be an award winner one day, Ethan, and you'll know how it feels, buddy.
All right, thank you, brother. I look forward to that day where we
The
can
Lowdown tonight,
together.
FX also flipping over to Hulu, so you can stream it there. I know you got to run, but just real quick, you love this finale. You're happy with the way everything turned out?
I'm thrilled with it. I wouldn't be getting up early doing these. I'm so thrilled with it. I want people to make it to the end because I love the ending so much.
We're loving it. We're loving it. Thanks for your time here in Charlotte. Ethan Hawke, everyone, the Lowdown. All the best, buddy. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Ethan.
Take care.
Thanks, man.
Hey, it's LauRen from the Maney and LauRen Morning Show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and like this video. If you want to see more videos, you can always check out our behind the scenes content or our War of the Roses.